Hi everyone, it is Miss Balsarac, and in this video, we are going to be going over our very first live lesson. So if you were unable to make it to our Zoom meeting, please watch the entire video. There's going to be a lot of helpful information in here that we're going to be using in the future and that you will need to complete your very first assignment. If you were in the live Zoom meeting, you can look back on this video as a reference while you are working. So, the very first thing that we did is that we talked about the idea of a quick write. And a quick write is exactly what it sounds like. You're taking a few short minutes to quickly just write down all of your thoughts and all of your ideas. You may notice some things, or you may wonder some things, or even want to make some predictions. Now, when you're doing a quick write, you do not need to write in complete sentences. You could even write in a bulleted list if you wanted to. And you also do not need to make sure that you have perfect spelling or that you're using correct grammar. Just write everything down that you want to in a way that you can look back on later and make sure you're able to understand it. Now, the first thing that we did is we took a look at this photograph. Maybe we start to wonder some things, maybe notice some things, or even want to make some guesses on what might be happening here. So, if you are not able to make it to the Zoom meeting, go ahead and take a look at this picture and kind of quick write some things and ideas in your mind. Now, what we did in our meeting, we went ahead and we all jotted down our ideas in this collaboration board, and we had a nice discussion about some of our guesses or some things that we noticed and wondered. The next thing that we did is we started to look at our lesson learning targets. We are going to have lesson learning targets for every single lesson that we do. And these learning targets are basically just the goals that we have for ourselves. They're the things that I am trying to teach and the new skills that we are all going to be working towards learning as we move through each lesson. So, our very first learning target is I can get the gist of the text shrouded in myth. Now let's look at this word gist. It's going to come up a lot in a couple of our lessons. So if we look at the gist, it is the overall idea of what the text is mostly about. So, for example, if you asked me what happened yesterday, I could tell you that I went to the mall, I went shopping, I bought 5 new shirts and 2 new pair of pants, and then I got hungry. I went to the food court to get a snack. At the food court, I ran into an old friend from high school. We decided to go out to dinner together, and at dinner, I was able to meet her new husband and her newborn baby daughter. However, if you asked me for the gist of what I did yesterday, I would simply say that I went shopping, I ran into an old friend, and we got dinner. Now, notice how in my gist it was short, sweet, and to the point. I gave you exactly the main events or what mostly happened in my day. I did not tell you the nitty gritty details of how many shirts I bought or that I got hungry and that I went to the food court. Those were just the small details. I told you the overall idea of what I did in my day yesterday. Now, our second learning target is I can identify unfamiliar vocabulary words enshrouded in myth. And we're going to look at this story, Shrouded in Myth, in just a moment. It is really important for us to start to realize when we're reading something and when we don't understand. Maybe I can say the word and I can read it and pronounce it correctly, but even when we do that, sometimes we need to notice if we even know the word or the meaning behind the word. So, as we're reading today, we're going to make sure if there's a word that we do not understand, we're going to go ahead and look at it further. And then the third learning target that we have is I can collaborate effectively with my peers. Now, if we were in the classroom face to face together, we would be working in groups and we would having lots of think, pair, shares and class discussions. So for this learning target, we need to be doing the same thing. When we meet in our Zoom meetings, I need us all to break away from our shyness and being on camera and start to speak up so we can have some really good discussions about the things that we're reading and the things that we are learning. And then the last thing that we went over was this word annotate. So if we are annotating, or if I ask you to annotate something, all you're doing is you're simply taking notes on the text. So you might be highlighting, circling things, or even writing things off to the side. All of those things happen when you are annotating. Now, the next thing that we did, and what you're going to need to do, is to log into Google Classroom. So, if I log into Google Classroom, I see in our classwork, I have our very first assignment posted of Shrouded in Myth. Your directions are posted here. And when you click into the document, your directions are also posted at the top. So, what we did together in our Zoom meeting was we went through first and we read the entire story of Shrouded in Myth. For the very first time, we went ahead and we just read it to get our initial reading and our fluency with the story. So, next, what we're going to do is we're going to reread the story, and this is a part of our close read. When we're close reading something, we're reading it for a second time, and we're annotating it or taking notes on it to gain an even better understanding of what we've read. So, let's go ahead and pretend that we've done the first direction of reading the whole entire story. So now we're going to skip and move to direction number 2. We're going to reread each paragraph separately in order to get that better understanding. And then we're going to annotate, take notes, and we're going to highlight any unfamiliar words in each paragraph. So I'm going to show you an example of exactly what you need to do. A long, long, long time ago, even before Perseus was born, well, I'm going to stop because I need to highlight unfamiliar words. I see this word Perseus, and I've never heard of it before. But what we need to remember is that we have these words and these things that are proper nouns. And a proper noun is typically capitalized, just like Perseus is. And it's trying to tell us that this is either a person or a place. So if something is capitalized, it is a proper noun and can be a person or a place. So if I look at Perseus, I can assume that that is just the name of a person. So I do not need to highlight this because it doesn't have a meaning behind this word. Even before Perseus was born, his grandfather, Acrisius, another proper noun, the king of Argos, was given a prophecy. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I feel like I've heard the word prophecy before, maybe in like a movie or something, but I'm not exactly sure of its meaning. So I'm gonna take my cursor, drag it across to highlight it like this. I'm gonna click this button here where it says highlight color. I'm gonna click it and choose a color. I'm gonna highlight it because this is an unfamiliar vocabulary word. That he would someday be killed by his grandson. To protect himself from this fate. I've also heard this word before, and I can say it, but I really don't know its meaning, so I'm going to highlight that one as well. The terrified king imprisoned his only daughter. Now, this is another word to me, imprisoned. I see the word prison in it, so I feel like I can figure it out better a little bit later. So I'm going to highlight that one as well. He imprisoned his only daughter, Danae, in an underground dungeon so that she could never marry or have children. Certain that he would never be a grandfather, Acrisius relaxed. But Zeus, the great father of the gods, had other plans. Okay, so I reread this for the second time and I highlighted any unfamiliar words. Now what I need to do is I need to write the gist of this paragraph. And remember, the gist is telling you just mostly what happened. So if I look back on this, I'm able to look at my gist and know, okay, I can remember what happened in this paragraph by just looking at the gist. So if I look through, I know that it's talking about Acrisius the king. Um, it was telling me that someday he might be killed by his grandson. And then because of that, he put his daughter Danae in an underground dungeon so that she could never have children. So when I write my gist, I'm going to say the king was scared that he would be killed one day. And so I'm going to change this. I'm going to say that he would be killed by his grandson one day. And so he locked his daughter away. And I did not mean to rhyme in that sentence. But if I look back on this, I know that the king was terrified. He was scared because it was telling him that one day he was going to be killed by his grandson. So to try to stop that from happening, he locked his daughter away. Okay. Now, my gist is one sentence. It can be 1 to 2 sentences, but there were some things in here about how after he locked his daughter away, he relaxed. That's a detail. That does not need to be in my gist. Or that Zeus, the great father of the gods, had other plans. That was just a detail, and that was foreshadowing or trying to give us a clue as to what was going to happen next. So I don't really need to write that either. My gist is just that the king was scared that he would be killed by his grandson one day, and so he locked his daughter away. So if I need to look back at my gist, I can look at my gist and I can remember what was happening in this very first paragraph. And that is exactly what you guys are going to be doing for your assignment. You're going to go through the rest of each paragraph, read it, highlight any unfamiliar words, and then write your gist of what was mostly happening in each paragraph. If you have any questions, please send me an email. When you are done, it is very important that you click submit or turn in the top right corner so that I can receive it. And you need to make sure that you have this done by Monday. Mrs. Knotz's class needs to have this done before their next Zoom meeting at 1:45. And my homeroom, Miss Balsarek's homeroom, needs to have this done by 9:30 on Monday because this assignment is going to take us right into lesson 2. All right, good luck with your work and have a great rest of your day. Bye.